Well, we have a phenomenal panel about to come up here and talk to you all about it, and it is hosted again by the legendary Adam Spencer. Please welcome him back.
Thank you, Tracy. Had a lot of fun with my chat before the break. Had one person come up during the break saying, "How did you know I'm exactly 64 and a half years old?" There you go. What's going to happen here in a few minutes, we're going to hear from three fantastic exhibitors whose work, a couple of which you might have already seen outside, about where they're at in this space, looking at some really interesting cutting-edge applications in tourism, but also getting behind their journey and asking the sort of questions that, what is it like to create this set of technology? What is it like to see people being on that experience? And also taking your questions. There'll be a QR code. You can hop on Slido and ask questions of our panel. Before that, I was asked to share a few of my own observations about the sort of technology I was talking about in my keynote and the way it applies into tourism. And so we're going to dive into tourism here, but please look at that asterisk. That I am purely an outsider in this, making my own observations. Some of them do overlap with some of the technologies that we've already seen today and you've seen out in the exhibition hall and the like, but there are many far more qualified people than me in this space today, and some of the really exciting conversations I've already had, we're going to have through the rest of the day, will highlight that. But I just wanted to share a couple of stories from my experiences of where I've seen technology already really transforming, in some cases, my own personal tourism expedition. My wife and I went to Antarctica at the end of 2022, and second only to Queensland in terms of a tourism destination around the life-changing. If people say it's hard to overhype how good that experience was. We were very lucky with the run of the weather. We had an incredible run. So I sort of, if our trip to Antarctica was a typical standard trip to Antarctica, I would be dragging you all to the airport now and throwing you on a plane and just saying you must do it. Even if you'd only got 50% of what we got, it would have been incredible. The sights, the wildlife, that sort of stuff. But one little experience we had that was just beautiful, and this is a photo my wife herself took of a whale just post-breaching, and you see the fluke of the tail there, and you see those little scratches and scars on the fluke of the tail. It turns out they are unique to a whale, like a fingerprint. If you get a decent enough photo, and that was one where you catch enough of the fluke and its little scarrings and markings, that uniquely identifies that whale. And we know that because as part of this tourism experience, they were encouraging people when they took photos like that to upload the photo to a website that's part of an international whale conservation and monitoring project. And my wife still gets messages occasionally saying where that whale that she took a photo of in Antarctica now a couple of years ago was most recently seen. It's on its migratory passage and all that sort of stuff. The great thing about this trip, and they said to us before you went there, that everyone who goes to Antarctica leaves as an ambassador and an evangelist for the place, and that's certainly the case. But this has also kept us connected to that experience years beyond, through the technology and the mapping and the consolidation of data from around the world on this whale trapping project. I've done some tracking project. I've done some work with Dell Computers, who run a program called Citizens of the Great Barrier Reef that I'm sure some of you have heard about. But the Citizens of the Great Barrier Reef program is fantastic. People who just in their normal tourism experience take photos anywhere of the reef, can upload that to a database which goes to an international effort to monitor the quality of the reef, track if there are invasive species and the like there, etc. And people can then, as an ongoing experience, go to that website and help classify different corals, etc. The whole space of citizen science that we've seen explode in the last decade or so that empowers everyday people just through the sheer numbers of people and the numbers of photos they can take and the amount of data they can uptake. They're not specialised qualified scientists in the field, obviously not, but they can, across their tens of thousands, provide more photos and more data than an individual scientist could hope to be able to amass in a career. Then put on a platform with analytics and the like that implies that scientific knowledge as well, citizens working in consort with scientists to do detection, conservation and the like, and permanently connecting that person going forward to that experience they had that might have only been 4 days in time when they were at the reef, but they will feel connected and they'll be evangelical about that and they will tell their friends and they will have their slide notes and they will be spruiking that experience to hundreds of people across the rest of their life. Sometimes, as you know, in some places things are in delicate times of year and situations on that where people can't go. There's a group called Teleportal that provides a constant stream of sections of the Great Barrier Reef. If you ever get on there, it's on the YouTube channel, really crunching dance music behind it too. Nice sort of way to funk out with the people from Teleportal. AR and VR we've seen a little bit about already, and we're going to see a few more applications to come, and they're all out there. This changes the game in so many different ways. Whether you're in advance sampling from lots of different things you might want to take in a tourism experience and then boutiquing in advance, whether you're doing a pre-experience of certain things to familiarise yourself with certain things you will see there, the ability to get people to do at least the introductory part of a training and safety video, the old idea of, look, we're going to do the safety induction while we're now here at the place where we need a safety induction because it's a potentially really dangerous place has never really made sense to me. If you've got a degree of training and induction in advance, fantastic and easily doable now with the sort of technologies we're talking about. This is a thing called iMotion that some of you might have heard of. iMotion monitors people's reactions when they're ingesting any form of media. So in the case here, I think they were tracking people at the Intrepid travel. Intrepid, by coincidence, was the group who took us to Antarctica. You can get someone to look at the Intrepid travel website for a few minutes and monitor their reactions and get rich biometric data of which parts of the website are people drawn to, what's working, which parts are they not looking at, where is the bit you were hoping they'd look at that you designed of the website you didn't realise people didn't concentrate on as much as they should have or anything like that. Detailed, rich analytic data from the way that people are interacting with websites, visual experiences and the like, and the power that's now coming into individual devices. So one of the first times I ever went on a holiday as an adult, just for the sake of like a holiday, back in the late 1990s, and I was working at Triple J Radio doing the occasional casual shift, and I was starting to jostle and think I wanted a bit of a frontline shift at this place. And by coincidence, someone from one of the rival commercial stations during a 2-week holiday break coming up said, would I be interested in just sort of filling in as a 2-week fill-in on this pop station in Sydney? You know, like not my sort of music or anything at all, but I did the 2-week gig just to sort of, you know, flag to Triple J, look, if you don't hurry up and make a decision here, you know, you're not the only person who's asking. So I did 10 days on this radio station. I was there with a veteran radio announcer and a woman who'd run a reality TV show, and it was 2 weeks of, you know, Bon Jovi and stuff. And I felt pretty dirty at the end of the 2 weeks. It really wasn't my thing. But they paid me, and they were paying me $350 a day. So they gave me a cheque for $3,500 at the end of this 2 weeks. And it was literally a cheque, an old bit of, I know. And I went to my then girlfriend and I said, I don't know if I'll ever be able to say this to someone again, but I've got $3,500 here and I really feel bad about it. I've looked at a couple of things online. Do you want to go to Paris or do you want to go to China? Right? And at the time there were discount airfares that could have got us there, and we decided to go to China. And we went to China for just under 2 weeks, and we stayed in this, it was a little package thing. It was Beijing and Shanghai. We did a week each in a hotel, all looked after, all covered. And the deal with the hotel was you got breakfast in the morning, much as you want, and then off you go. And we were living on not much money, so we had breakfast in the hotel each morning, then we had to construct the trip. And so we used this thing in 1997, I think it was called the internet. And the internet back in 1997 was pretty funny. It was like, there were like, you could go on the internet in 1997 and say, okay, because this was the sort of towards the end of my university debating career. The last uni world championships I went to, some young kids at the uni helped me prep for that world championships on the internet. It was my first interaction with the internet. The internet in the late 90s was awesome because you would just go on and go, okay, gun control, American gun control, boom. There were only 4 articles on the entire internet, right? One by the United Nations, one by Amnesty International, one by the National Rifle Association. And you know, there was no sort of, hi, my name's Gary. I like guns and lots of porn. This is my thoughts on the American Second Amendment. No, you needed an amount of professionalism and capital behind you to put anything on the internet. So there was this rare period of time where there wasn't much there. It was really easy to find and it was incredible quality. That was very simple compared to now. It wasn't video and all that sort of stuff. But the point I'm making is this. Julia and I decided, let's compose our 14 days in China around, let's not waste any opportunity at all. And we found this website by a guy called Graham Earnshaw, who was a food critic back in the late 1990s. And he'd been on these big holidays through China, and he had all these great places to eat in China. And he used to rate them all with the Earnshaw Onion Index. I don't know why I chose an onion, but if it's only got 3 onions, it was the best. 2 onions, 1. So Julia and I composed our entire holiday around, okay, in the hotel, on this day we'll go somewhere incredible for lunch, and we'll go somewhere amazing for dinner, as recommended by Graham Earnshaw and his Onion Index, and we'll just work out whatever really interesting sites would be on the way to get us to lunch, get us to dinner, get us back. And it was an awesome way to run the trip, right? We were there for like 12 days, and I had some of the best meals of my life, saw these incredible sites, many of which I would never have known was there if I hadn't known I'm walking from here to here, what can I check out? We conducted this great itinerary. That took a week to put together. It literally did, and it was such hard work to find, and this and that. We had to download a map. What's the name of this street? Boom, boom. Look at this sort of technology we're talking about here. This interaction of devices into, just going to try and go back and play it again. Now that your phone becomes this, and the ability to just flip it around a place, where am I, what's near here, construct the itinerary for me, explain that place to me, speak to me in the local language. I just look at the fact that we could now construct that trip that took Julia and I a week, moulding together 4 or 5 different types of technology we really didn't understand, with a lot of us crossing our fingers and hope we got the Chinese word for that right. Oh, it'd take 5 minutes now. Take 5 minutes tops and it would be a mind-blowing experience. That's the world we're living in now, with the sort of technologies that are at our fingertips and about to come down the tubes.